Hey everyone, hello. So today we're doing something different. We're not just retelling a life, we're stepping into the questions of a life left. Albert Prodigy Johnson, lyricist, truth teller, sickle cell survivor, a man who rapped about the streets and later in life about shadows that were more than just metaphor. This video explores his talk about the Illuminati, his UFO and spiritual encounters, his complicated relationship with God, and the conspiracy theories that swirled after his death. I'll try to separate what he said, what others claim, and what's been verified. Prodigy came up in the Queensbridge projects, the other half of Mobb Deep, a voice of survival and sharp observation. Albums like The Infamous made him a central figure in 90s East Coast hip hop. He chronicled life's poverty, pain, and the line that was very thin between survival and surrender, all while living with sickle cell anemia since infancy.
I was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, SS type. That's like the worst form. When I was 3 months old. Sickle cell is, for the people that don't know, is a hereditary blood disorder where my blood cells don't carry enough oxygen, and when a blood cell doesn't carry enough oxygen, my blood cells change shape into a sickle shape. That's where the name comes from. And then they interlock with each other. And then it's like a domino effect. They all start interlocking, and wherever that happens at, that's where the pain happens, as excruciating pain. Like, it's to the point where I can't even move. They have to pick me up or put me in a wheelchair and carry me to the hospital. Like, I can't move my body, I can't move my legs or anything, because the pain is just incredible. I couldn't do any strenuous exercise, couldn't do any contact sports. There's no cure for sickle cell. I don't know, I feel like it gave me a mental disorder a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It was really traumatic, just going through all that pain as a kid, and then next thing you know, a week later, I'm back to normal. It made me not believe in, God. I ain't believe in God. Just, having conversations with God, begging God to make the pain go away, and then the pain wouldn't go away. So I'm like, who the hell am I talking to? God is not responding, so I don't believe in that. You know what I mean?
He also later carved time for long-form reflection, interviews, a memoir, speaking plainly about pain, belief, and the strange experiences that shaped how he saw the world. Hip-hop and the Illuminati narrative have been entangled for decades, so let's look at what he had to say about that.
What is the Illuminati? Like, if you could break down what it is that we're actually talking about when we say Illuminati.
It's a group that was formed like in the 1700s, something like that, 1600s. This dude named Adam Weishaupt. He started this group of people, like powerful, rich people that basically could shape popular opinion and the way, the world is gonna move forward. The word means like the illuminated ones. Light is like information. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you see the light now. I found out the origin of the information that they were teaching. It basically comes from this group called the Essenes in Egypt. These are like the original black culture. They're like the scholars, doctors, scientists, esoteric thinkers, and they just knew how to do stuff. Like, for example, look at the pyramids. Nobody understands how the pyramids were built. These are the people that had that knowledge. Eye of Horus, the pyramid, those are artifacts and things from black culture. They represent certain things of our people from ancient black history of Egypt. You know what I mean? Ancient Egypt. You got these group of people They break into the tombs, they steal the riches, like the gold and the mummies, and they rape and pillage our culture. They got you thinking your own people and your own artifacts and your own symbolism is evil.
Prodigy's relationship to that conversation was complicated. He both called out elites and name-checked conspiracies in interviews, and he was known to speak about power structures candidly, sometimes with irony, sometimes with urgency. In interviews, he would trace how symbols, gestures, and money can feel like evidence of a controlling force, and he publicly named names and patterns. To many listeners, these comments felt like both warning and confession. Warning about forces he believed manipulated culture. Confession because the lines between speaking truth and repeating rumor are blurry. In one of his last on-camera interviews, a Viceland therapist segment, and related pieces published after his death, Prodigy describes strange nocturnal experiences, a shadow moving across his room, and encounters that he interpreted as spiritual or otherworldly. He talked about UFOs, so let's look at that clip.
I started asking God, once I started coming to the realization that there is a God, like, am I supposed to believe this? I'm supposed to believe this when I'm learning and what I'm being told? If I'm supposed to believe this, man, show me something. Give me a sign, show me something. And I was shown many things.
I'm sure.
Give me a witness now. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to have a witness. You know what I'm saying? Which was the mother of my kids. She witnessed something incredible with me, you know what I mean? That happened. And what we saw scared the shit out of us. I was asking to see a UFO, basically. And it came over my house. Just started shining lights in our bedroom. You know what I mean? The whole neighborhood blacked out at first. And I looked out the window, looked down the block, and I seen all the power was out. First it was a white light. I thought it was a police helicopter looking for somebody outside. And then all these colored lights just started coming in the room. It was dead quiet. And the lights was changing like many colors. And it was pretty significant, man. It was like undeniable. And it became because I was asking for it to come.
He also talked about being visited by a Jesus-like or spiritual figure that delivered a message about purpose, calling him powerful like an angel, and later wrestling with the idea of being a fallen angel. One moment from that interview stands out. He described laying in bed, clear-minded, not under the influence, and watching a black shadow cross his room. After that experience, he suddenly lapsed into intense pain and required hospitalization.
That night, when I laid down to go to sleep, all the lights was off in my room, and I'm laying there, and I seen a black shadow walk across my room. And it looked like, the only thing I could describe it, what it looked like the Black Spider-Man.
And you went on any drugs?
Nah.
I just
6 years straight. I'm like,
I just want to deepen you into
super
this
healthy.
is your life. Okay.
Super healthy, clear-minded.
Okay.
I'm doing positive things.
Yes.
Like, I'm not. So I just laid there, and I put the sheet over my head, like a little kid, just like forced myself to go to sleep. And I woke up the next morning. The pain woke me up. I haven't been sick in 6 years. And I was in so much pain, I had to be carried to the hospital. I knew what happened automatically. I already knew what it was. I already knew what that black shadow was. It's a story that's told about this black shadows that attach themselves to people here on the earth, and they feed off of negativity. They feed off of anger. I said, oh shit. Like, that shit is real. And it showed itself to me. I was allowed to see it. You know what I mean? And this was when I was about maybe 26 this happened. Maybe 27. From that point until age 33, I got locked up. You know what I mean? I just been on like a downward spiral.
For Prodigy, the experience framed his life in new mythic terms, a man who was both chosen and wounded. The language, powerful man, angel, fallen, pulls from biblical imagery, street mythology, and the language of initiations. For Prodigy, who lived with chronic, terrifying pain, those words were less about ego and more about trying to make meaning of suffering. Prodigy's faith was not straightforward. He reported praying for relief during sickle cell crises and then feeling abandoned when the pain continued. In interviews, he said that repeated suffering led to grief and anger toward a God who didn't answer, a theme he returned to repeatedly. If a higher power exists, why doesn't he intervene? That doubt is human and ancient. For Prodigy, it intersected with illness, with the cruelty of the streets, and with a lifetime of seeing broken promises. He wasn't just theorizing, he was interrogating the spiritual cost of living with pain. Prodigy died on June 20th, 2017, at the age of 42 after being hospitalized. Early reports emphasized his lifelong sickle cell disease. Later, official findings from the coroner pointed to accidental choking. News outlets reported he choked on an egg while receiving treatment for sickle cell-induced hospitalization, and the medical examiner ruled the death accidental, so due to asphyxiation and choking. Things that make you go, But when a public figure who has publicly speculated about secret forces dies suddenly, rumors fill the gaps. On YouTube channels, forums, and social feeds, people connected his Illuminati talk, his UFO claims, and his dying in hospital into a single dramatic narrative. That speaking out has consequences. Those are conspiratorial connections, emotionally powerful, but they are not substantiated by forensic evidence. Conspiracy theorists often thrive when official explanations are perceived as inadequate, or when the person on the center of this already associated with hidden knowledge narratives. Why do these stories stick? Because they answer an emotional need. Humans prefer intentional explanations to meaningless accidents. They also reflect a distrust in institutions, hospitals, media, medical systems, and a cultural appetite for secret knowledge narratives. Prodigy's own mysticism and willingness to discuss taboo topics made him an attractive icon for those narratives. None of this erases his real experiences, chronic pains, visions that haunted him, a public life lived in complex relation to power, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be careful to distinguish between the artist's words, verified facts, and myth-making that happen after someone dies. Prodigy's story is messy and human. Lyricist, survivor, believer, enraged questioner. He left behind music and interviews where he tried to name the forces he felt pressing on the world. Those interviews where he spoke on the Illuminati, of UFOs, of shadows and angels, and of a God who didn't answer are real and recorded. The conspiracies about his death, by contrast, are claims that have not been substantiated by the official record. That distinction matters when we're trying to honor the life of him in truth. So, if you want to hear the full Viceland therapist segment or read his memoir, My Infamous Life, they are worth listening to. They give you a man wrestling with pain and purpose. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it helpful in some way, engaging, enlightening, or you benefited from it somehow. But help your girl out. Leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification. All right, everyone, and share the video with a friend or two. Take care. Peace.